Okay, so it finally got warm enough today. Yep. To get these tank heaters installed. I have 3 tanks to do underneath here. Black, gray, actually 2 gray tanks. I have a shower tank, which is right here, is the shower tank here. And then black tank. And then on the other side of the RV, there's another gray tank for the bathroom sink. So ordered 3 of these Vacon tank heaters. And we're going to go ahead and get these tanks cleaned up real quick with alcohol and get them installed and get everything wired in. We plan on going camping hopefully next week. And temperatures are going to get a little chilly, so we decided to winterize things the alternative way so we can enjoy camping in the winter some. Obviously, we won't be going when it's sub-zero, but this will prevent any freeze-ups in the tanks themselves. And of course, we'll wrap all the valves here with something. I also bought some heat tape to do this plumbing pipe that goes over to the sink, the bathroom sink tank. We'll wrap that up with, we'll clean it first and wrap it with aluminum foil. I think it's like an 18-foot heat tape that will actually come over and do some of the valve work over here in front of me. And of course, then we'll insulate it. So, I'm trying to do this with a cell phone, so I'm going to go ahead and clean the tanks up here and start getting everything installed. So it's pretty easy to do. Just the main thing you stress is don't stretch the heating pad as you're putting it on, so it doesn't hurt the heating elements. So yeah, the difference definitely. Why they ask you to really clean these tanks up really good. I don't know how well you can be able to tell here in the video, but that's a tank that was cleaned with alcohol. This is one that has not been cleaned yet. Big difference. I can understand the cleanliness for the usability now, but this down here actually is okay. Down in here, I can't get that to come off, but most of the pad won't hit any of that. So, but you always install them right here, from here back, always as close to this neck as possible. This is the low point back. There's a big difference when you clean them with alcohol and not cleaned. So make sure you take the time to clean them properly so they stay there. Stay adhered to your tanks. And we have tank number 3. This is the tank for the bathroom sink. Quite a long tank, but the heating pad is large enough to cover at least half of that tank. So being on the low part here by the outlet will prevent any ice buildup. So we'll get this one cleaned up. I have a heat lamp over on the other 2, and it's got that right about the mid 50 degree range, and that's what they suggest, at least around 54-55 degrees to put these heating pads on after you've cleaned the tank. So those surfaces over there will be good by the time I get this tank clean, and then we'll move that heat lamp over here and get this warmed up while we're installing the other 2 heating pads, and then we'll move over here and finish her up, and then it's a matter of getting everything wired. I already have the switch at the wall hanging there, and wires ran for the power, the grounds, and the 12 volt actually, and then we'll run wires from back here to the front to the switches, and each tank will be able to be controlled individually. You could have put it all on one switch, but when I ordered the kit, it came with a three gang switch that lights up, so I figured why not. Look cool, look cool lit up, and make use of the parts they send you. So we'll just run individual wires for each tank heater, and I'll be able to turn them on and off as needed. Okay, we got the shower tank heater pad on. Very simple. We were right around 54-55 degrees on the tank temperature with our heat lamp on it. So it's now over there on the other tank on the other side. And you just simply start right here. Start right here. Pull some of it back. Pull some of your adhesive cover back. You start right here again. Don't stretch, don't pull. Just gently work it onto the tank and work your way back. And just continue pulling this adhesive cover off. And then, of course, the pad is wider than the tank, so we just gently rolled it up to the sides. And I had a couple seams on the tank here, that we massaged each side of the seams to make sure it's making good contact. Always make sure it's making good contact without stretching anything. And that is one heater pad on. This is going to be a little trickier because this really has a serious drop. This is the black tank. So we got to make sure we get that real good. And it sticks too, man. When it's on there, it's on there. So make sure you get everything straight, even, and just take your time and massage the pad. You know what I mean? Just don't pull and tug. Just massage it real good with your fingers. It even tells you on other videos you watch on YouTube. And make sure it's full contact. If you got tank seams like I do here, these areas here, make sure you get them tight on each side. So, pretty nice. So you install it evenly, side to side. Don't get your wire stuck on it. The first one went on really easy. As soon as I turned the camera on to do it, it's going to be a problem. No, just kidding. We got it. Okay. As close to this outlet as possible is where you want to start the pad. Okay. I'm going to say it's probably pretty close. Tacked. And just adhere to the bottom first. And then you worry about rolling your sides up a little further. Don't pull it, don't stretch it. Just knead it to the bottom of the tank. Conform it. Continue pulling your masking off. A little far on one side, but that's okay. A little off center, but it won't matter. It's pretty close. Again, anywhere you got a tank seam, you just want to work it. Down into any low spots, high spots, anything. Make sure it's making full contact. Slowly start moving it upwards. Rolling it up. Beautiful. Make sure you maintain contact with the tank. There we go. Beautiful. A little long here, but that's okay. She's stuck. Spot there I've got to work on. There we go. I'm not stretching, it's already stuck. I'm just making sure it's down against the up against the tank. Good at that seam. And we got a winner. This one's installed. Okay, just that simple. Got to make sure everything's good and clean before you go to adhere these up to the tanks. I have no fear that they'll ever fall off. They bond very well. I'll put a link in the video in the description. That's checking the other one over real good. I'll check these again tomorrow before I start wiring everything. Getting the wiring ran back here. Good shape. Excellent. Now we'll go to the other side, check the temperature, make sure we're somewhat near 55 on the tank surface, and we'll get the last one installed. Okay, last pad. We're over here on the passenger side of the motorhome now, or RV. And this is the bathroom sink tank. Looks long, but it's not very big. So Oh, and the tank temperature over here is in the mid-70s. The heat lamp's been on a little bit, so pretty good shape. I like to just make sure it's even. That's pretty good. Stick that there. Get it started. Again, don't stretch it. Excellent. Nice product. Highly recommend it. If you're travel trailer, fifth wheel, motorhome doesn't have heating pads. Most of them do nowadays. This is a 1996. It did not. It does now. And now we don't have the fear if we are camping during the wintertime when it's not really harsh weather. We're good to go to about 0 degrees to -5, I do believe it says. I'm not going to be camping that cold, but it has the ability to do that now. It has a very good furnace in the unit, so no problem staying warm. Is not a problem. So again, you can't see it, but I'm going to do this pipe with heat tape and all the good stuff and wrap it. Like I say, this tank is simply just for brushing your teeth and washing your hands in the bathroom sink. So it's not a lot of water in this drain line, but still the opportunity to freeze, but we're going to eliminate that. So that's it. Now it's just a matter of finishing up the wiring, and we'll be ready to go for freezing temperatures. At least our tanks won't freeze. So I've started the wonderful adventure of running wires back to the tank heater pads along with this wire loom material. It's going pretty good. We got part of it strung up here, and it goes over top the propane tank and goes up through the floor. So this wire looms run up through there, and we got to go. Sorry for the poor video footage here. I'm laying on my back, but one back to the back here where that light is the bathroom sink tank. We'll tie in there, and then we'll come across and catch the other two tanks on the left hand side. So I don't know how much filming I'm going to do. It's pretty tedious. I want to get this wrapped up, and should have them powered up here shortly, and then I will come over here again. Sorry for the phone angle. And tie into the battery box over here. Put my 15 amp fuse in, and of course put wire loom on this wire, power and ground going over to here. We'll just take care of everything inside the battery box. So we're close. We'll have these powered up here probably in a couple hours. We got up here, everything underneath is now done. All 3 heater tanks are tied in, hots and grounds. Of course, the other day we finished up the switches up here, right there, and we've got the loom and the wire ran into the battery compartment here. Ordered a fuse kit with fusible, or with wired fuse links here to put fuses inside of, inline fuses, if you will. Now it's obvious what's getting ready to come on and happen here with the heat tape, aluminum foil, can only mean that we are getting ready to insulate this drain line from the bathroom sink. Sorry for the light interference. And goes across the back of the motorhome behind the fuel tank and goes over to the valve, drain valve for that tank. So we're gonna, I've already cleaned it with alcohol, and we're gonna go ahead and start wrapping it with this aluminum foil, which will help better disperse the heat from the heat tape. And then we'll insulate it, and I have rolls of insulation over in a box here, and taper up, and that line should never freeze. Like I say, we're not camping in like sub-zero degrees stuff, but it'll definitely handle it down to about 0 degrees probably. So okay, we have the entire length of drain line. It's an 1.5 inch line, wrapped with aluminum foil. Now we'll start taping the heat tape to the bottom of this pipe in a straight line, as it's required by the package. It says not to wrap, so we'll just go ahead and put it straight line tight to the aluminum foil. Tape it every so often so it doesn't get any sags in the line. And when I get over to these valves, I'm going to insulate them up too. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of extra heat tape left over to cover some of that. But irregardless, we'll if not, I'll probably just, for now, because it'll always have RV antifreeze down in the bottoms there until we dump, and I always keep jugs with me, or I will anyway, now that we're going to be doing a little bit of cool weather camping. But I will insulate them. That'll help from the elements a little bit, but I'll always make sure, even after we dump, we'll put RV antifreeze down in there to keep stuff from freezing at the valves. Okay, foil's on. We have the heat tape on, if you can see it. Try to. There you go. Tape to the bottom of this drain line, all the way over to my valves, and surprisingly, I have, see the foil left over there on the ground. I've got enough to actually go around the valves. So that's awesome. So that'll also heat the valves up, valve areas and the piping and elbows, etc. And that'll keep it from freezing. So I wasn't expecting it to have that much left over, but it did. Now I did over here, I started a little bit away from the tank outlet. Okay, and I cleared the aluminum foil below this. There's a pod that actually sits on the pipe to get a true measure, or a true temperature of the pipe, to let it know when it needs to come on, I guess. But so I did leave a little opening for that to mate to the actual pipe surface. And because this area here, with the warmth that the foil will transmit through here, plus the warmth that's going to come through from the tank heater in this connector here, I think this section will be okay. So I stayed back a little way from that. Also, I didn't want the sensor here, the thermostat, if you will, to get a false reading from a warm area here from the heater pad, not allowing this to come on when it really needed to. So that's another reason why I stayed back away from the fitting in the tank a little bit. So should work good. I'm tickled to death that we have some left over, and I'm going to go over now and work on seeing what I can do to wrap those valves. We'll start insulating. Okay. I had a lot of cord left over, so I don't know how particular you got to be with foil around your valve and piping, but my goodness, we got it wrapped up. So now we're going to go ahead and I see a spot I missed. I'm going to get the top of that one valve, but put a strip on that. But it's ready. I'm going to go ahead and finish running this tape out through here. It's going to do some looping and carrying on, but we got plenty of it to use up. And these valves will never freeze. They shouldn't. So it takes a little extra time to wrap properly and all that stuff. I got to finish that valve back there. I see I forgot to wrap that, but I think she won't freeze. So it's probably overkill. But I had extra left over, so we went ahead and used it up. Hey, we got the heat tape finished up. Have a lot to use up yet, so hopefully this works. I did do what they say you probably shouldn't do, was wrap the pipe in a spiral motion. And I'm out of electrical tape. I'll finish taping that up properly. Sorry. But it's really not that sharp of a bend. That's what they were worried about versus what I did down here. But it bent pretty easily, so I don't feel I did any damage to anything. And I know this coil here is not going to hurt anything, so. But I'll come back and I got to get some electrical tape to finish that up. Fast, taping this tighter to make sure it's making good contact. But that's pretty much it. Now it's ready for pipe insulation. I have the wrap kind. I'll probably use that. And then when of course it's silver foil backed, but I'll use flat black paint to hide that so we don't look silvery underneath somebody's following us. So we got all the valves wrapped, and it's pretty intricate over here with the handles and stuff, but everything is wrapped. And then now I'll go back. I have to go get some black duct tape. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this whole line with black duct tape and seal everything up, and that'll be it. This whole plumbing operation underneath here with the dump valves and the kitchen, the bathroom sink drain will be winterized, if you will, or ready for winter. Not winterized, but insulated, heated, and taped up so there's no seams, and she'll hold the heat in there. So it's messy, but it's very doable. It's not a very hard job. It gets messy when you do the insulating part of it, but it washes off. So okay, final product underneath. Fully insulated lines all the way around the valves across the back of the motorhome to the, if you can see it, to the sink drain, bathroom sink drain. Again, this is heat tape, actually foil wrapped heat tape and insulation, and then wrap it with duct tape to protect it from the elements. And then we also tied up the wiring that came over to the 2 tank heaters on the driver's side of the motorhome. The job's done. Everything seems to work. We plugged the heat strip in. It lit up. So we're going to find out. We got some sub-freezing temperatures coming next week when we're camping. So we'll be keeping an eye on everything and make sure everything's good. That's a wrap. Also had a hot and cold water line coming to the outdoor shower from the holding tank and stuff. But anyway, cheap insurance. I mean, this area is vented. I actually have them taped off right now, but there is a vent on each side to allow warmth and coolness to get back in here. It's not forced air. It's just what would linger in here from the bedroom. But cheap insurance. Go ahead and insulate your pipes. If it gets, that one night gets really cold, this will prevent any freeze ups in these hot or cold water lines back here. And I'll probably do some insulating down in here. Protect all these from the elements down inside here too, the whole faucet housing. So probably doesn't need to be done. It probably won't ever freeze back here, but just in case, again, it's cheap insurance for under 10 bucks. So I did it. Well, we finally got us an inline fuse holder. We just went with the glass type because it's in here out of the weather. And tied our positive and negative in. And of course we closed the circuit on that. And let's see what the switches do. Look at that. Okay, so when it gets cold enough, we'll test them. And it sounds like it's going to happen after tonight. We are actually leaving tomorrow. Go camping. It's going to be pretty chilly most of the evening, so we'll be putting these tank heaters to the test and see how they work. I have a digital thermometer that I can shoot a laser beam at it and let me know when they're getting warm. So that part of the journey is done. Okay, so our tank heaters, at least to the switches, do work. We have 12 volts up there, and I'm sure we'll have 12 volts back at the back. So far so good. Now to get onto that drain line and finish that up and get some brackets on our back storage compartment, hot and cold water lines, and our winter kit will be done. And last night I went out and got straps, clamps, whatever you want to say. They're just a hard plastic, like a plastic EMT style clamp, and they fit perfect. This one down here is a little tight, but I've got it snugged so they don't try to pull through the wall or anything, but works good.